But Tim, why don't we talk about you?
Sure.
I like let's learn more of your story. Obviously, you and Nick go way back. We just basically met. I've heard the name a few times, but assistant golf pro, Birmingham Country Club. But take us through kind of your story, at least a little bit, kind of how you got into the golf, and obviously your playing background. You've been able to play in a lot of high-profile events to potentially earn spots for large professional golf events.
So I mean, I was super lucky. My dad was a member at Detroit Golf Club growing up, and like they had a massive junior program with a lot of good young players, and we all wanted to play in college. We all wanted to be on tour one day. So, I mean, when my dad played, he played a lot. So I would just grind on the range, hit balls 6-7 hours. I mean, when I was 4, 5, 6 years old. Mm-hmm. Then I'd go to the putting green and have 72-hole putting tournaments, stroke play. You hole everything out, no gimmies. And
we should do that. How much do you think you'd beat me by?
Yeah. I feel like I know where you went wrong in life there, Sam.
Just going through the ranks of like being a 4-holer, then a 9-holer, then an 18-holer as a young kid, and just like that progression, I just fell in love with. The golf pros there, and going through high school, my goal was to play in college, but I kind of realized like, what am I going to do after college? I don't really love anything else other than golf, and especially the golf industry, you got to love it to be in it. And I figured, you know what, I'm going to check out Ferris State. They got a great golf program. I mean, first one in the country. They have great reputation. I knew a lot of kids that went there, and I still had the chance to walk onto the golf team. So that was kind of my route. But Detroit Golf Club is super special to me. It's probably my favorite place in the world just because of everything I love now is from that place. And I went to Birmingham Seahome, played 4 years on the varsity team, and played in plenty of tournaments, and really fell in love with it. And the program up at Ferris was awesome. I mean, the internships they got to do. I mean, and I got to meet Nick.
Yeah.
But you meet a lot of guys along the way, and just keep those connections. And just I love what I do, and you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a unique part that doesn't get talked about enough throughout the golf industry is like there's several different routes how you can do it, right? Like I grew up working through the business. Mm-hmm. Tim went to school for it. A lot of the people that I know went to school for it, and you can do an apprenticeship through different golf courses, any PGA facilities and things like that. So you can kind of come from like a totally different background and just meet a ton of like most of the people that I know now is because of working in the golf business. And I think that's just what doesn't get talked about enough when people say, oh yeah, I worked in the golf business and like I know this person, I get to do this. Like it's crazy. I mean, look, I've met both of you just from working in the business.
Yeah. And it truly is like, it's who you know, not what you know.
Yeah.
And that's like, couldn't be more true about the golf industry. I mean, you hear it all the time, but really, I mean, you stay connected, you get to do cool things like this and visit your buddies in Arizona or what do you got to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I think one of the parts we want is like, so for people that are watching or listening to this, like you're one of the best players in the Michigan section within the PGA, and you've played in a few assistants championships. You've won the Michigan section a few times, and last year you got to go and play the PGA Championship for the first time, which is that how many people can go out and say they played in a major championship? It's not a lot of people that can say that, and obviously I've never wanted to ask you off the record about that experience, just because I knew eventually we'd get to a golf podcast and we'd have the opportunity here. So I'm going to be hearing some of the stuff for the first time, but like just kind of go back and walk us through what that experience was like. Cause again, 99.9% of the world's never going to experience that.
Well, and almost explain how, like, I don't know if everyone knows how people qualify for the PGA Championship, but as a teaching pro or within the, there's the professional golfers, and then there's people who help grow the game from a teaching professional standpoint. They run the golf shops, all that. That's kind of what you're doing.
Correct.
That's what you're doing, not kind of. And so you were able to play in the championship and qualify that way. So kind of explain that, and then knowing you qualified, and then kind of go through
For sure. So like as a member of the Michigan PGA, right, there's 41 sections in the country for, if you're a PGA member, there's 41 sections. If wherever you live, Michigan actually has its own section. Florida has 3.
Yep.
So that's kind of how that works. Every section has a section championship that all their members are able to play in and qualify through their section championship to go to the national tournament. So for Michigan, we have like 125 guys that play, and we have 9 spots. So based on how big your section is, how many guys play, they take a different number. Some have 3, some have 12. Mm-hmm. Michigan has 9. So last year, I think I've tried 3 times now. My first year I made like the 2-day cut and just came up short, but the second try, which was last year, I qualified, and I got to play in the National Club Pro that was at PGA Golf Club in Port St. Lucie, Florida. They have a lot of PGA tournaments there. So through that, there's 312 total players.
Yeah.
So you pull from every section. There's a lot of players, and they take the top 20 guys at the end of that tournament to play in the PGA Championship for that year. And, I knew it was at stake, but I just got, I had a calm first day, bogey free, and I found myself tied for second after the first day.
What was your expectations going in?
You can't have any because I've kind of done that through my career too, just like not have any expectations, and you won't like let yourself down type of thing or have any like bummers. But that's just, you know what? I was nervous as hell, but just kind of hitting fairways and greens, simple as that, and just came out bogey free. And then it got windy in the afternoon and found myself in second place. So I'm looking at my name on the TV all day, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like kind of a big deal, So I just kept that going, man. I just found a comfort zone. I did everything the same every single day. Had the same breakfast, left at the same time, went to the course at the same time. I did those little things, went to the bathroom, all
You're
that kind of stuff.
superstitious is what you're saying.
No, but for that week, it worked, man. And I just didn't want anything to change. I didn't want to feel off kilter, and I just wanted to feel what I felt the day before. So I just kept doing that. And, I found myself really close to the cut line on that top 20 that last day, and I had a putt that hung on the lip on the second to last hole for 6 seconds or whatever, and it fell in, and that got me within one. And then I just had to par the 18th hole to go through, and that was pretty cool.
Right, so you're scoreboard watching though the whole time.
They have scoreboards on the back nine, and I have to know where I'm at.
Well, yeah,
because I need to know if I need to like throw one at the flag or just keep doing what I'm doing, making pars. So.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because, you hear people out there and people out there teach it too. Is like they teach young players like, oh, don't keep track of your score. Don't buy. It's like, I feel like a lot of good players know exactly where they're at all times.
I think so too. You hear a lot of that on tour. And it's like, you can't look at a green without seeing your name on the board of where you're at and what position you're at and stuff. Like I noticed at the Rockets, like, not every single hole, but there's holes out there that's like this guy's T42 or T70 right on the cut line. Like, how do you not know where you're at?
You have to
it's tough.
Intentionally be avoiding looking at it.
But that's being aware of where
still,
it is.
It's there, let me look this way. Like, it's so, I feel like hard to not do that.
Yeah, I say there's times that like I've played good through like the first 7 or 8 holes, and you get so locked in that you kind of forget about where you're at, especially if someone else is keeping score. But I feel like 90% of the rounds that I play, I know exactly where I'm at all times.
Yeah. So quick question. And this is something to, whether someone's trying to qualify for, it could be a Michigan Am, it could be a club championship, it could be a professional event, it could be they're trying to shoot their best score, which is first time breaking 80, first time breaking par, first time breaking 100. People know where they're at, and there all of a sudden is a little pressure coming down the end, whether it's 3 holes. Okay, I got to go par to shoot 71 or something like that, or I got to par. Like you said, you knew where you were at, you knew you had to basically make a putt or something here. How do you handle the nerves there? Because I think Nick and I, and I'm sure you've had examples where you get a little nerve and there's issues that come from that, and you hit bad shots. And so, like, do you have any advice for anyone who's trying to figure out how to handle those things when they get in that pressure-filled situation?
Good question, because I had a couple experiences last year that answer both of those questions. The tournament to qualify for the national tournament, I was very close to making that top 9, and I played the last 54 holes beautifully, right? And I played them that way. So why would you change your mindset or change how you are managing the golf course if what got you here in the first place was that?
Yeah.
So why would you go backwards and stay safe when being aggressive was what you got you there? So that would be my first thing. The second thing with nerves, on the 72nd hole of the PPC, which is the PGA Professional Championship, to get you into the PGA Championship, I got to watch it on TV, and no one could really tell how nervous I was, to the point where after I hit my tee shot on 18, which is a very difficult tee shot, basically, if you hit the fairway there, you're wedging it on the green and making par.
Yeah.
So when I hit that tee shot, my caddy kind of looked at me and was like, enjoy the walk. Like one of those things, like, you did it.
Yeah.
Like, enjoy it. And I, like, freaked out.
I really
that's
the last thing I'd want to hear.
You couldn't tell the camera cuts off at the right times and things like that. But, I was, I had to step off the tee box and like, it was hot. And I'm chugging water, I'm chugging Gatorade, I'm doing everything that I possibly can do to just like feel better and just like for 10 more minutes, just like stick with it and you're done.
Yeah.
I really thought I was going to like pass out, and thankfully I didn't, because that would have been probably one of the most embarrassing things in my life. But you have to do whatever you think you have to do in terms of like, mine was just like saying cuss words and telling myself that no one cares and like out loud. And I don't care if there's a camera in my face, I got to get through this. And like, I did those things just because I felt better. I mean, whether it's breathing or just laying down for a second or drinking water or like just mental things, like think about your happy place or whatever it is. Mine was just swearing at myself.
Yeah.
And just telling myself, you know, there's a lot of people in the world that could care less about what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I mean,
so that made me feel better, like instantly.
Yeah, that's a very good way of looking at it.
I don't know.
I mean, I've tried to tell myself too, like when I have a good round going or something along those lines. Like I shot even par for the first time for 18 holes, like a month or so ago now. And like I told myself down the stretch, like no one cares. Like when I leave this golf course today, like no one's gonna give a shit. No. And at the end of the day, no one really did. Yeah. So like now I have that mindset going forward. But I always go back to what Jordan Spieth said the first time he was leading the Masters. I think when he not fell apart, but Bubba ended up winning it. Yeah. He said he went in that back nine and he said I couldn't feel my arms anymore. Wow. So he just like he was so nervous and he was so like. I feel like that's part of it, is like almost kind of like he says, like, am I going to lose consciousness? Like, so it's a vast majority of players are always going to feel that regardless of the situation that they're in, whether you're, leading the Masters or you're trying to get into the PGA Championship. I mean, for some people, it could be trying to win a club championship.
It could be like trying to break 80 for the first time. I mean, I've heard stories from people I work with. They're like, man, dude, I was 5 over with 2 holes to play. And I 3-putted the 17th, and then I hit one out of bounds in 18. It's like, dude, like, but it's you get in that and you know where you're at, and there's like you start kind of getting really tense. Yeah. And the times I've like, whether the first time I shot under par, I shot 5 under par, like I blew it out, then because like the nerves like almost couldn't. I was so far ahead I couldn't basically blow it. The first time I ever broke 80, I remember in high school, I shot 75, like because. It was not even. It was so far away. I couldn't worry about making a mistake that was going to cost it. Yeah. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But
I mean, I would add just like you said, like on 17, if there's out of bounds left and you think there's out of bounds left, don't go left. You're going to go left.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's just things like that. You just have to trick your brain. I mean, you really do. So
the thing I've learned is typically, and we've talked about this on the podcast. If you start playing tentative. You start not hitting good shots, and really what it is like it's not one shot that you go, oh my god, I hit in the water, I cost myself a shot there. It's like, no, I hit a bad shot in the left rough, then I either had to chip out or I couldn't hold the greens. Now I'm chipping from the other side and I chip it to 8 feet, and it's a lot of small mistakes that add up to a shot on a hole. Sure. And so I think there's a lot to that. But
I would say that too, though. Like diagnose your round and tell yourself like what do you need to work on, one, but two, like what went wrong today, and like if it's little, then don't worry about it. Yeah. It'll change next time. If it's big, then maybe we got to work on some stuff. But
figure out the trend.
I would also add just like if someone comes in and they say they had a bad day, I mean, every single golf shot you hit is a new day.
Yeah, exactly.
You can hit the worst golf shot of your entire life, and then the next one could be the best golf shot you ever hit in your entire life. So like when guys say they had a bad day, I kind of laugh. Like, that's your fault.
Look, I've always said a bad day golfing beats a good day at work. So
100%.
That's the other thing. But we didn't even talk about the PGA. Sorry.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I was gonna say. So obviously, you talked about how nervous you were just leading up. What were those first tee emotions when you actually got to the PGA Championship?
So by far, the nerves were way worse trying to qualify.
Really?
Okay.
And I came back. I had a lot of attention. There's, I'm sticking in front of cameras and I'm doing all this stuff I've never done before. And I'm like, never thought I was really good at it. And, you have to kind of learn how to just like deal with it. But when I came back, I had 2 weeks to kind of work before I was going back, which required a lot of practice, and it was kind of still cold out and things like that. And I just kept telling myself, like, I don't really know if I can do this. Like, this is the biggest stage in golf. Everyone watches this. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to play. Like, I really don't. I think I'm going to be crazy. Like, I'm going to be like 18T at the PPC all the time. And when we got there, I just had so much time to kind of relax and just like go to the beach or just go to the range and just feel like one of those guys. And those guys never give you the cold shoulder. They're all like the nicest guys in the world. They understand where you are and like how much it means to you, that they're not going to treat you that way. You're just one of them for the week. And like those guys, I got to play with a few guys, and they just treat you like you're supposed to be there, which you are. And like that just made me relax. Obviously the first tee when they say, ladies and gentlemen, 103rd PGA Championship is Tim Pearce. Like, wow. Like, I would have never thought I would hear that, So, like, that was pretty much it. I made a birdie on my fourth hole from, like, 30 feet that just, like, all my friends and family went nuts.
Yeah. That's a tough hole too, isn't it?
Yeah, 13.
Oh, okay. Then let me take it away then.
Yeah.
So, 13's a hard hole too.
I mean, so number 10 was, like, this carry, and I got caught in the rough. I had no shot. It hooked into a waste bunker. My waste bunker shot went over the green to another bunker, hit poor bunker shot to 15 feet, and made it for bogey. So I'm like, okay, I would have literally taken a bogey if you told me that. So then the next hole, I 3-putt. I'm still feeling nervous. I make bogey, make a good par on the next hole, and then I drain that 30-footer. And, like, after that, I was 1 over through 4, and I'm like, I would have taken this in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All my family and friends and members that came down to watch, they were going nuts. And, like, it got super loud, and then I was just settled in the entire time. It was awesome, man. That's so cool.
I think that's kind of what they talked about, with, the final round of the Open with Rory and Victor Hovland. Is like, if those guys could have made a birdie to, kick off, a birdie always calms you down. Yeah. I feel like, kind of like, all right, you're good enough. You got this. I guess for you is, you kind of already answered the question I was going to ask, but I think one of the famous videos for you that came out of that week is, I think it was during the practice round, you were walking through, I think, to the practice screen or something with Justin Thomas. Yes. And obviously his dad's a PGA professional. Was a guy like him more open to, all the 20 pros that were out there that entire week?
Some more than others, depending on where they're walking to or what do they have to do and how much time they have. I was just walking from the putting green back to the driving range, and I think it was Wednesday. And I just saw him kind of walking behind me, so I stopped on the stairs, crossing over, and I was like, I just introduced myself, and he was the coolest guy. Other than, like, us meeting, I kind of blacked out for the next 45 seconds because I was just, like, where we were walking over, and there's a bunch of people watching us, and there's just, like, it was a beautiful day. We're on Key Island. I mean, it was just, like, what am I doing right now? Yeah. Like, literally, what am I doing? I had one good tournament that get you in. I mean, that's what golf is like. You got to take advantage of. First of all, you got to give yourself opportunities, but to take advantage of those opportunities, the more you get yourself, so that moment was probably, like, my favorite just because, like, wow, like, I'm talking to JT, just him and I, and where we are right now, and it hit me pretty hard. So he was cool. I know his dad's a PGA pro and still his coach. I mean, that's a dream to have a kid like that. I mean, hopefully my kid's like that one day, So,
did you get to play with any like notable professionals or anything, whether it was practice round or in the first year?
Yeah. So Monday, Ben Cook and I played.
Okay.
And we played with another PGA pro. And then Tuesday, I think I played with, I walked to the tee, and it was kind of one of those things, like, Ben had played this was his third one in a row, Ben Cook, and he was like, you can just be aggressive. Like, just ask guys to play. If they're on the first tee and they look like they're just playing, like, just go up and ask. They don't care. So Matt Wallace was standing there, funny enough, and I asked him to play, and he's like, yeah, I'm just waiting on another guy. And I'm like, okay. And Poulter walks up. So I played 9 holes with Matt Wallace and Ian Poulter, and, like, the Englishman banter, like, them going at each other, the caddies going at each other, Poulter going at his caddy. I mean, it was insane. So, like, that was really cool. It felt like I was kind of stepping in between them for the first 2 holes, and then they loosened up, and, like, Poulter and I were pushing each other on the 8th tee and just making jokes. I mean, it was so cool, man. And, like, to watch those guys play is insane. Like, what they do out of bunkers, they hit it 5 different ways right next to the hole. I mean, it's crazy what those guys do. And then, my favorite probably was Kuchar. I mean, he was just like, yeah. So I played with Kuchar, Omar.
Oh my God.
Webb Simpson came up and caught us on the last 2 holes. So we played 2 holes with him as well. But Kuchar was just cool, man. He was just like, he just made the Big Easy almost. Like, he kind of just, like, big dude, just swings at it, respects you, watches you, and I got to watch his short game, which is crazy. But great experience, man. It's cool.
That's awesome. Now, I rip on Omar, and it's completely unnecessary. But I have a question because he's a guy who played on the PGA Tour for a number of years.
Yes.
Basically, he had a PGA Tour career, yet he's now become kind of a PGA professional. Like, is there any animosity toward him because he's a guy who basically played on tour, but he's somehow able to qualify this way into the PGA Championship? Or am I just completely making that up like any sort of podcaster does?
No, I mean, I don't blame you. I mean, there's a lot of people with both sides of that opinion. I just think, like, he wouldn't be playing in our tournaments if he wasn't allowed to.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure that's been thought about. I mean, that's kind of a big thing. And I know he wins a lot of tournaments, but he's a nice guy, like a really, really nice guy. And I enjoy playing with him. And I think he, I don't think that he's stands out. Like, I had to be told that he played on tour.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I mean, I know he's a little bit older, but nothing told me like this guy like shouldn't be with us. I mean, he doesn't hit it that far. I mean, I hit it by him, and he's got the short game of a genius, and those are things that anyone can learn if they're driven to it. So like, I understand the whole career thing, and I understand why people think that. I don't have a specific opinion on whether he should be able to play or not. I know that they kind of pulled his exemption from the PPC going forward, and I think it's good timing. Now he's getting older and he's lost his status and
I just didn't know.
stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was a.
No, I mean, really, he's very well respected between all
I'm
the
sure.
players of the PGA, and I know there's some guys that are, have that strong opinion, and you can go party with them if you want.
I tell you what, I mean, I have no judgment of his character. He is just unfortunately the guy who I use the name.
That's his whipping boy. That's Sam's whipping boy.
And it's not fair to him. And
he doesn't even know who you are.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't know who I am. I'm such a peon to him. And he's like, who the fuck? So, but the cool thing, Phil Mickelson won the PGA. The one you played in.
Yeah.
Oldest ever major champion. Did you get to stick around? I know, like you missed the cut. I don't need to pour salt. I don't know. You got to play in it. Hey man, like
awesome.
Yeah. Did you stick around, watch the rest? Like how what'd you do?
So Saturday, it was a beautiful day. We all went into Charleston, my buddies and I, and we just had a great, very fun place. A lot of rooftop bars and fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
So that was a great day. And then we woke up on Sunday. We planned on going. We obviously had time. They were teeing off at like 2:30 or whatever. We got there at 2, watched the entire round. Like, it was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Did you get inside the rope access too, coming back as a player, or no?
So I brought my badge. I had my car that they gave me. So we rolled right up to valet and like just used that. Why not? But so we got. I mean, my friends don't have all those passes, but when I walked up to a tent and they saw the player, I kind of had to work a little bit. But they did. They were pretty nice to us. Yeah, they were pretty nice to us. There's a lot of people, man. I mean, so. But like watching the match, Brooks was down 1 after 1, and then he was up 1 after 1. Yeah. I mean, I was like, oh, here we go.
Oh yeah.
But the roar on 5 after he made that bunker shot, and I mean, that was to be there, live, just watching that stuff was, and Phil doing what Phil does best, with a wedge in his hand. It was so cool, man. And then, I mean, the crowd just got bigger and bigger, and basically the whole freaking place was on 17 and 18.
Yeah, I mean, I remember comments that both Brooks and Phil made, and they weren't like ripping. They just was like, everyone kind of surrounded them, and they were engulfed in the crowd. Yeah. Like, what was that scene like?
Insane. Oh. Like insanity. I mean, it was like being at a rave concert or something. I mean, it was straight madness. I mean, I didn't run into the fairway. I decided to kind of hold back. I didn't want to be like, oh, Tim Pearce, who missed the cut, tackled Phil. I didn't want to be that guy. So, or trip Phil or whatever it is. So he actually, where we were standing on the left side of 18 after his drive, it was literally 20 feet in front of us. Okay. And I hopped up on the rail, and I have a video of right behind him. And so,
we'll have to post it.
Friday Beers, I think, like makes all those shirts about cool stuff, whatever. Yeah. I was in one of the shirts that like Phil hit his second shot on 18. Oh, really? I'm in the background, like.
Oh, hell yeah!
So like that's pretty cool. So I had a great view, and then all my buddies decided to run, and I had to find each other later on. But I told them I was at valet. So.
Just come find me at valet, guys.
No, but like it was epic. Man.
I feel like for those guys for them, like you're only ever probably gonna have that one opportunity. Same thing for the guys that probably ran onto the fairway at Eastlake when Tiger was walking up to the Tour Championship. Like, you don't know how many of those opportunities you'll ever get in life. Like, I think most people probably only get one. So I'm kind of with your buddies. Like, take full advantage of it.
It was like, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do it.
And it's hard because I would love to see more of that. Like at the Open, they let them run up to the green or something. But I get there's a player safety aspect to it. You don't know what some of these people do. Yeah. Or, I mean, there was that one time the guy ran out just to watch the punch shot that Tiger hit, and he like nicked his leg. And it was like, oh my God, what just happened?
Yeah,
like,
that could have been, oh my God.
Yeah, but there's an aspect to it. But yeah, either way.
But I mean, that whole experience of, I mean, I don't mind it, No, and I think they're going to start thinking about that when big things are about to happen. I mean, no one really knew Phil was going to really pull it off. He's playing with Brooks, who's won 3 of those things, or 2 of those things, and
2 PGAs, yeah.
2 PGAs.
4 majors, yeah.
And he's the guy. And he's playing against Phil, who's kind of, coming down, and he's the oldest guy, and just like, when is he going to fall off? He played solid the whole way. When is he going to have a couple bad holes, and is it going to come? And And there's a lot of tough holes at Kiowa, and when basically we didn't know he was going to win until the last hole.
Yeah, I mean, we just didn't know. I was like, you're waiting. It's like, all right,
like holy shit, this is happening.
Yeah,
right now.
like you're waiting for the pattern. Like, when's Phil gonna 3-whack this just out of nowhere? And he just didn't. That was like it was almost
cool.
like he was having an outer body experience that whole week.
Well,
So
I think I'm trying to remember. I think it was 13 where he hit like a hook. I think he had to hit like a hook shot or something to get it on the green, and he hooked it into the water.
Yes.
But he was able to drop on the green. I remember when he hit in the water, I was like, what the fuck was he doing? Because he had I think it might have been a 2-shot lead. Yeah. But I think the concept in his mind was like, dude, if I hit in the water up by the green, I'm dropping on the green, I'm putting for par, like 2-putt bogey, whatever. I'm in the shit. So either way, I mean, it was the coolest thing. I know you're a huge lefty fan, Leach. I am. Of course, got to go against the grain. Well, we're both lefties.
yeah, well, I mean, that's fair.
What am I supposed to do now? You guys are on the same page with that?
No, he doesn't like Phil either.
No, I'm not a Phil guy.
Oh, you're not a Phil guy?
I'm not a Phil.
Yeah,
guy.
no,
sarcasm.
Yeah, no.
Got it.
Yeah, no.
I was very excited when he won.
He was very excited, and I think Phil's just always thought he's been cooler and better than. Well, not better. I mean, he's very good at golf, but like, just feel like he's a bee's knees. Like, dude, you were never.
That's the thing. It's like you see that so much. It's like, is that real or is it fake? And that's pretty much the main point that people. Yeah, but like how he did it for 25 years? Or something?
That's right.
So it's like it's hard to put that face on for that long, and I know he's got a couple bad whatever. You know, everyone's got their things, but yeah.
Look, it
was pretty cool to see him win.
Exactly.
I mean, it was a cool story.
51-year-old winning, and like he basically was like, well, Tiger won that, like greatest comeback. Fuck that. I'm gonna go try to win a different man. Right. So both major wins are awesome. Just to get that in. Yeah, because I mean, for the most part, we like. Tiger's last major was 2008 when we were all pretty young. I think I was basically going to my freshman year in high school. Same with you, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, that was honestly the first golf tournament I had ever watched from start to finish.
Outside that, we haven't seen him win a major. So when he did that, and then obviously Phil had won, 2010, 2012, 16. He won or competed in the Open, and he won one. But like, still, just seeing those things and being able to be like present for what might not ever be done again was really cool to watch.
And I had one of my buddies out that had never been to a professional golf tournament.
Oh.
And he got to watch me play in it and see Phil win a major.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to beat that.
At Kiowa. I mean, it was insane, man. It really was. So
did you get a local caddy?
I didn't. I brought a buddy of mine.
Okay.
Yeah, I brought a buddy of mine. That
had to be a hard decision, no?
It was, but like we were going into the PPC and like I was like, hey, I need a looper, and basically told him if we make it, like you're obviously coming with.
Yeah.
Because you're going to help me.
Yeah.
And like not thinking about it, maybe, I mean, that situation is so different. If I was really able to maybe compete against those best players in the world, maybe I need some professional help. But like we both had the greatest experience of our lives.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say. It's an experience you can share
awesome.
with your buddies. So.
Yeah. Forever. So it was awesome.
I guess fast forward now, it's what? I mean, that was a year and a half ago, essentially.
Yeah, insane.
2022, obviously COVID happened and golf it's the biggest it's ever been. Right. And, I worked in the golf business up until last year, I'm out of it, but I've been around, I've talked to guys that are still in the business and they say now it's the craziest that, working in the golf business has ever been. My brother still works at a golf course at Plum Hollow. You're still at Birmingham. I've talked to the guys at Forest, like all these local clubs here in Metro Detroit. And they've all said the same things. Like we're completely full. Everybody's playing golf now. Like, what do you test that to COVID? Do you test that to, that people had nothing to do then? And do you enjoy that from a working in the business standpoint? Obviously, we're supposed to grow the game as, professionals. That's what we were taught. But I guess kind of give me your thoughts, because for me, at the end of last year, and even I think about working now, it was just so chaotic with the direction of where the golf business was going. Sure.
I mean, it is. There's no doubt about it. COVID had a lot to do with it. People couldn't do anything but golf for the most part outside, and everywhere, every country club, every golf course, public facilities were doing everything that they could to still bring people in, whatever measures that is. So that was kind of a tough time to go through, just because it was very busy and we were, kind of thrown this, safety protocols and all these things that you have to think about constantly with kids and clinics and carts and all those little things that go into it. But you do it for the membership and you do it for the people and you do it for the golf industry and it's obviously thriving right now. And yes, I work a lot but there's worse things that can happen. Right. I mean, there's a lot of kids at our club specifically that want to play. We have 230 kids in our junior program that, and most of them are just like, let's play golf. And like, that's cool. And we find things to do for them to grow the game. And I'm just happy that the game is growing. The unfortunate thing is that I think the golf industry is losing a lot of, professionals that want to be golf pros. So that, opposite chart that's happening right now, golf industry going up, assistants and professionals out there going down and finding new things to do. It's important that we get kids to continue to get in the game, and that's our future. So right now it's a tough time for us, just working a lot and obviously very busy, and it's long hours, and I want to find time for my own things too, which is tough most of the time. But we're in a good spot, and I hope it keeps going. And I think I just very optimistic about where the tour is going and what's happening in the golf world right now. And there's just so many good players, and I love it, man. You have to love it, right?
Yeah, I think that's, and forever, I'll always be forever grateful to the golf business. Like it changed who I was. Like I was a shy kid, didn't know how to talk to people. I remember when I first started caddying, like my stomach would hurt for I would say probably the first year I was caddying. I was 13 years old, and I didn't know how to talk to people. And then you hear, it's like, oh, this guy's the CEO of this company. This guy is the president of this company. You're like, holy shit. Like I'm just some kid from Detroit. I don't know. Like I shouldn't be among with these people, but it really changed my perception on, I guess, life and everything along those lines. And, for me, getting out, it's a totally different lifestyle, right? There's a totally work-life balance. I've played more golf than I ever have this year. There are definitely, like, I do miss a lot of the people, but I can confidently sit in here and say there's, like, besides maybe the invitational weeks, I thrived. I love putting on golf tournaments. Like that is something I really, really did enjoy. Everything else for me wasn't, I didn't like doing, obviously I didn't grow up playing, right? So for me, it was more of a job. And then I think it's definitely more enticing in the business for people that are really good players because of the opportunities that can come from it. And, but still, people out there may look at me as like, he's a really good player. It's like, well, then I look at somebody like you, it's like, well, it's
all subjective.
It's all subjective. There's levels to this shit, right?
Sure.
So, and I think that's what's so cool about the business in itself is that it can literally be whatever you want it to be, from either working, playing the game, or being a playing professional. Like that's what's, I think, so unique about it.
For sure. There's so many different routes you can take, and that develops. I'm still being developed. There's kids that go through college knowing exactly what they want to do, and they stick to it, and then maybe it changes. I mean, there's someone that you can meet. I can meet a guy tomorrow, just say, hey, you want to do this? And I'm like, wow, that's, for sure. So that much money? Yeah.
Exactly.
But no, just like, you just don't know what's going to happen, and things constantly change, and we go back to what you said about expectations. It's like, if you're trying to set a path to a certain goal, sure. But when you're trying to expect things to happen, if I do this, then this should happen. It's like, no, like just keep that open, and things happen the way they're supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I guess kind of last thing before we kind of get back into like the major golf news is, obviously I think you just put the Assistants Championship here in Michigan just took place, correct?
Yes.
How did you fare in that? And obviously based on that response, it didn't go exactly how it went.
I just want to say it is the most fitting time to be on the Lippin Putts Podcast.
You had a lot of LPs yesterday.
I counted. There was 11 lip outs from inside 5 feet.
Ooh.
36-hole event.
I was about to say, geez,
36-hole event.
That's like my numbers.
But it got so crazy. At 5 in the first round, I'm like, I want to change putters. I want to do putt left hand. I want to putt blindfolded. I mean, it was like insane. And then it just kept happening.
Do you wish you would have turned down your offer to come on this podcast? Because maybe we could have a bad omen on people.
No, we do. I mean,
no, when you guys were setting up earlier, I was like looking around. I'm like, oh, Lippin Putts. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I'm not over it yet.
Yeah.
So.
Just salt in the wound, baby. That's what we do.
No,
here.
I played okay. I missed the Nationals by 4 this year, and it's unfortunate because I feel like I can compete pretty well out of the assistants in the state. I played with 2 other guys that made it, and they're really good players. There's a lot of good competition in Michigan, whether it be PGA pros, amateurs, college players or mini tour guys or whatever. So we're lucky to just have that competition all the time.
Yeah, and I think a big part we're kind of looking forward to is you talked about Ben Cook a lot. He's definitely I think you can easily say it between him and Scott Hebert, like those are the best players in the state of Michigan when it comes to the PGA level. So he's gone out of the Michigan section now, so that's kind of opens up the door. He just played in the Rocket Mortgage this past year. The Michigan PGA is this upcoming weekend at Prestwick. So I mean, obviously your hopes is to go on and win that, and that gets you an automatic exemption into the Rocket Mortgage Classic the following year. That's at Detroit Golf Club, obviously a place that you spoke of. What would, winning that event and, getting an exemption into another PGA Tour event, especially at a place that is so near and dear to your heart, what would that kind of mean to you?
I mean, close to or even better than playing in a major, which I shouldn't even say it like that, but playing in the PGA was obviously the highlight of my life. But to be able to kind of create this story of going back to where I grew up and playing in a tour event, which, it wasn't there back then. Who knows? It just developed, and now it's wait, I'm a local guy. I grow the game, and I'm a good player, and I want to be able to play in this event, and we're lucky enough to have that opportunity. Yeah. I mean, next week's one of the biggest weeks I've been thinking about all year. I came really close last year. I came in third. I was, I think, 3 or 4 behind Ben by the end of the day, but I got within 1 at some point. And it was obviously on my mind, and I played super solid, but seeing him get that is gosh, that should be me, and the fact that, we've got a membership here that's extremely supportive of me. I've got my family here. I've got a ton of friends that would obviously come. That support would be insane there. And just being able to walk those grounds with them and probably, having my dad there with me, who was obviously a member. And so, yeah, that's been on my mind for a long time, but obviously you can't really think about result. You just got to go play your game, man.
Right.
Don't lip any putts out.
I'm trying to fathom that. I grew up playing at Plum Hollow. You grew up at Walnut Creek. Could you that's a thought that couldn't even jump into my head.
I mean, if it's a course that you grew up, there's so much nostalgia to it. So much just memories of stuff that you built off of, and being able to go play in an event like that. I think it'd be unbelievably important and valuable and memorable. That would be the epitome, not the peak, but at this point, probably a very exciting thing.
For sure.
And so obviously best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll be rooting you on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, it would be
I was going to say, if you do qualify, one of us will offer to caddy for you next week, but I'm sure you got your one buddy on the bag.
No,
not next week or at the Rocket Mortgage, but
yeah, well, everyone's going to be fighting for that spot.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say.
Yeah, we're probably out with just the name of our
I'm sure we'll have another.
Yeah, you do not want.
Yeah,
it'll just get me back on the pod.
We'll just get you.
Seat's pretty comfortable.
Exactly. Yeah, you know.
Maybe the seats will be out there at the Rocket Mortgage Classic next year.
There you
we
go.
did have the opportunity. We just couldn't. Too short a time. We wanted to actually do a podcast from out there, but
that'd be awesome.
Too short a time. Sam's life's been really busy. It's finally slowing down. So sorry, I just spoke in the third person.
Yeah,
but you've been busy too.
Yeah.
It's just
Tim's excited to play next week.
Plus, we don't want to record from the Rocket Mortgage unless you're playing in it. So
that's actually why
okay.
that's
our
excuse.
excuse.
Can we make a deal?
Yeah.
We're going.
Yeah,
if I play, we're doing this.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we'll lock it in right now.
Yeah, absolutely. No questions asked.
I'm playing for you guys next week.
Hell yeah.
There you go. Dedicate.
That just added more pressure.
I'll dedicate to the Lippin Putts Podcast. Yeah, there we go.
I'll throw you on the tour bag.
Ooh, there we go.
There, now we're talking.
Now we're talking. Let's go.
Some ideas.
Hey, there we go.
I'm about to go out there and just start. I know all the good players in the Michigan PGA site. I'm just going to start Tanya Harding their ass. Yeah.
Tanya Harding. Yeah, put that on the airwaves.
Yeah, whatever.